Hello guys, so in today's video I want to do a review of a new piece of kit I got from Firemaple. It's the Fortress Titanium wood stove. Basically it's one of those twig stoves that you can take on hikes. So let's take a look at it. So the stove itself is stored in this very nice Cordura fabric type of sleeve that's held shut with a Velcro. Let's open it. So the different parts, when you receive them, are stored in this paper envelope to avoid scratching. So let's take a look at that. One thing that's interesting with the storage bag is that it includes instructions. So very simple. So it shows you how to assemble the different pieces. There's several options. You can assemble it to burn some twigs, but also you could use it for an alcohol stove. You could also use it for solid fuel tablets. So here are the different components of the stove. So as you can see, the stove is made out of titanium, so it's quite light, weighing in at 219 grams or 7.7 ounces. So when folded in the storage case, it'll measure 160 times 136 times 11 millimeters. So that translates to 6.3 times 5.4 times 0.4 inches. And when it's assembled, it'll measure 130 times 136 times 160 millimeters or 5.1 times 5.4 times 6.3 inches. So let's assemble it. All right, so the first step is to assemble the sides together. So basically there's these tabs here that just slide together. It's quite simple. So that goes like that, like that. Next step is to assemble the bottom section. Again, there's these tabs here that fit in these slots. So you assemble it like this. And the next step is to assemble the front portion. So that's a bit more tricky. You gotta assemble these slots on this side, and the other side is slit like that. It also comes with these two supports that you can just add here and here. All right. So one thing you can see with the stove is that has some kind of hybrid construction. Here the center is full, but you got these holes on the side of the bottom plate for some airflow. So this allows you to use the bottom plate to burn some solid fuels as well, and to be the base to hold your transient burner if you want. On the side here, you got these slots to allow the airflow to go through. So that's absolutely necessary if you want to burn some wood with the stove. All right, so when you set up the stove in the wood stove configuration, you can use all types of wood. You could use some twigs off the landscape. Here I decided to baton some spruce to make some thinner sections, and this is really going to help with the burn. So you don't want to use too thick pieces of wood, and you also want to prepare some thinner tinder. So here I decided to prepare some feather sticks. So with these thin curls, the fire will catch much easier. So after that, I decided to use some of the birch bark I collected earlier. So lit it up with my ferro rod. Birch bark has some oils in it, and it really burns hot. So this really gets your fire going very fast. Then you just add your feather sticks, add your twigs or your pieces of wood through the opening, and then you got your fire. So one of the big benefits of using these twig stoves is that it's much more effective with the fuel that you're going to use. So you're going to burn much less wood than you would if you're going to use an open fire, since all the heat is concentrated the heat box. So that really helps to conserve your resources. You don't have to prepare as much wood. So these few pieces of wood that you see here did last for quite a long time, so it's quite efficient. So I then went on to boil some water for my tea. It's roughly half a liter. And I was surprised to see that I got the water boiling much quicker than expected. So really I'm impressed by these types of twig stoves. So as I previously mentioned, these twig stoves can also be set up in a higher configuration with the base set up on the top slots to be used with solid fuel tablets, but also with a transient alcohol stove. So that's what I set up this time. So this day, it was a very windy day, so I didn't want to use my transient by itself. The wind would probably blow out the flame. So I decided to use the twig stove as basically as a stable platform and as a windbreak to protect the flame. So with that wind protection, it's much easier to light that stove. I got it in one shot. And on top of that, it makes the stove way more efficient. So you're gonna, again, concentrate the heat in the burn box, and so you're gonna lose way less heat. All right, so what are my conclusions with the stove? So it's very light and easy to pack when you're going hiking, and it's very versatile. You can use many different types of fuels in it. More importantly, you can use twigs, so you're never going to run out of fuel when you're in the woods. So I think that's pretty awesome. So definitely highly recommend this piece of kit.